and risks. Then we're going to show you how you can secure AI that you build on local, how you can secure AI that you build on local, and we're going to end with a customer, KPMG, coming and sharing their security further story. So let's start. The AI transformation is happening now, every industry and every organization. And we ran security research together with the MTC research group. And that showed some numbers. So let's see by the numbers. 75% of knowledge workers are already using AI. Now raise your hand if in your organization you're planning to or you're using already AI. Okay, that follows the research. So 95% of organizations are planning to or already adopting AI. Now raise your hand if you're planning to develop with AI, no code or pro code. Okay. 66% of organizations are planning to develop, already developing applications with AI. And if you want to read all the numbers and everything, you have a link to the website. So we see that AI transformation is happening, but with it comes risks. And you're probably already familiar with how to protect your regular threat vectors. So what we call our regular or legacy threat vectors, like applications, identity, endpoints. But AI also brings new attack surfaces, like models, prompts, responses, orchestrations, and it also brings and amplifies new risks. So it brings new prompt injection attacks, jailbreaks attacks, model vulnerabilities, but it also amplifies risks like data leakage and data overshare. Where data security was always a risk, but AI is heavy on data, and it makes it a lot bigger. For example, if in the past, I wanted to search for password in documents, I would need to go open document by document, or write a script that would find all the passwords. Today, I can go to the AI and ask it, this password to the document, and in 5 seconds, I'll get those data. So the data leakage is what we call amplified risk, while jailbreak and model vulnerability is what we call new risks. And when we look at it, we map all this to 3 layers. The model layer, the platform layer, where you see the new threats like training, data poisoning, and model theft. Then we have the application layer, which is where we see all the jailbreaks, indirect prompt injection, what we call intent breaking, data leakage, and the AI user. How do I secure the user interaction between the user and the application? How do I protect sensitive information? How do I know what I don't know? What application I'm running in my organization? What data is being sent to them? And then we have what we call the generative AI extended risk, which is with agent, for example. How do I make sure that agent has least agency, has access only to the data that it has to have access to? So all of these are the new threats and risks that generative AI brings, and we'll show you what tools you have to protect against it and what you can do. And to that, we built a framework that starts with prepare. You have to prepare your environment, you have to prepare your data, you have to prepare your access. Once you prepare, you have to discover. You have to discover what data is being used, what application are being used, what vulnerability and risk you have. Then you want to protect. You want to protect the application, you want to protect the model, you want to make sure that there is no jailbreaks and no prompt injection. And at the end of the day, you want to build it. You want to make sure you comply to all the new regulations. You want to make sure that your organization is good for auditing and governance. So if you look at that, you need tools to prepare, discover, protect, and govern. And when we look at it, there's 2 ways that organization are building applications. One is local and one is pro-code. And when we look at local, there are thousands of apps being built today by local. It's really easy to build it. It's rapid time to solution. You get a full managed stack. You can connect it to all kinds of data, stuff like that. And you can do that with Copilot Studio. Then, if you want to do a pro-code, let's say you want full control and customization. You want to integrate it with GitHub or your other Visual Studio or other development tools. Then you choose Azure AI and pro-code. And together we're going to see how you can secure the logo and the pro-code. And I'd like to invite Shilpa to share how to secure pro-code in your organization. And local, sorry about that, how to secure local. Thank you, Shilpa.
Thank you, Netta. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ignite. I'm Shilpa Ranganathan, and I'm super excited to share with you the latest updates to Microsoft Purview, especially as it pertains to securing and governing your customer agents. All right, so let's take a step back. I mean, everybody's building AI apps and agents these days, and why not? That is the best way for anybody to harness your own enterprise data and use it for your employees as well as for your customers. Good. But can you imagine when you democratize the creation of these agents? I'm just somebody from a sales organization or an HR organization, and here I'm trying to create these agents. I need to know, okay, is this LLM good? Should I use this? How should I tune it? More importantly, I'm using it against my organizational data. What if it leaks? What happens to it? I might not even have that mindset. Leave alone the expertise and the tools needed to secure and govern. On the flip side, can you imagine with these so many AI apps and agents getting developed? Can you imagine anybody in the enterprise adopting this widely if it did not have the right security controls built in? That's exactly what's slowing down both citizen developer velocity as well as enterprise adoption velocity. But just imagine every single agent that you build comes built in with enterprise-grade data security, governance, and compliance from the day it was given birth to. How cool would that be? That's exactly what we're planning to do with the Purview integration into CoPilot Studio that allows you to just integrate Purview with all of its data security value right into CoPilot Studio, such that from the very first time that these agents are given birth to, it comes protected out of the box. Now, when it comes to makers or these citizen developers, with just a few clicks, no hassles, you're able to create your agents securely. And for users of these agents, you're able to use it securely while being productive. And last but not least, if you're the risk officers or the CISOs of the world, or the administrators of the world who are trying to understand what's going on, how's the AI usage in my organization, you get comprehensive and full visibility into all of your AI risks. That's exactly what we're trying to do here. With that, I am super excited to announce today, first one, which is data security posture management for AI. This gives you comprehensive yet proactive visibility into all of your AI risks across Microsoft Copilots, of course, your agents and third-party AI as well. And with all of this comprehensive visibility, you're able to take remediations right then and there. Data compliance for your AI built right in with complete audit trails, proof of compliance. When auditors come knocking at your door, you have e-discovery, you have retention, you have communication compliance, the works. Last but not least, data security for your custom-built agents. This is all about honoring the protections that are offered on your data, making sure your agents also honor the same, and insider risk management. With that, I'm happy to jump into demo. Give me a second, I'll just orient myself here. All right, here I'm in CoPilot Studio. I've created my agent already, and I'm just going to very quickly show you what are the security settings that come along with it. Here in the authentication tab, I can choose to authenticate via Microsoft or choose to authenticate manually. This is your open authentication model. For this, I'll choose to authenticate with Microsoft. Then, very simply, I go into this Generative AI tab. And here, I just have to click this Generative AI button and pretty much save. All this is doing is actually enabling Purview right for your customer agents. That's all you needed to do. It's all set. Just a few clicks, like I said. I've also associated it with my knowledge source. Here I'm pointing it to some of my SharePoint sites in my organization. And then now let's go and quickly test this out. I'm going to ask it some sensitive question, and let's see what it's going to do for me. All right, two things point your attention here. First and foremost, it is going against and using my organizational data. That's good. Let me point you to here, what's going on with your custom-built agent. Here, when I ask it a sensitive question, it goes back and returns to me a few references from which the summary was created. I can see that some of this is highly confidential. It has a label associated with it. It's already giving me the awareness that the data is confidential. It's also giving me awareness that some of the data is not confidential. And if you see, it is actually inheriting the most restrictive label here, such that your summary, which is your AI-generated content, is also protected henceforward. So this is how, as your end users are utilizing these agents, they're not only productive, but also staying secure. And with this, they're actually preventing oversharing and data leakages in your organizations. With that, I'll switch gears and also show you some of the administrative experiences. Here, this is your data security posture management. This is your one-stop shop for everything to do with AI usage risks in your organization. You can see we give you some out-of-the-box reports that help you understand what are the AI interactions going on. Let's take a look. Here, you'll be able to see all of the sensitive interactions per AI. What we're doing here is, first things are, hey, who's saying what with AI? What are some of these sensitive interactions that are happening with AI? And this is done across all AI, be it Microsoft Copilots, your Copilot agents, and or third-party AI like ChatGPT. What we're doing here is we're taking all of the best-in-class classifiers that Purview offers, intersecting it with the signals, and giving you these out-of-box reports that execute against your AI prompts, responses, and processing. Beyond your sensitive data interactions, we'll tell you what kind of sensitive interactions per department against what AI app is going on here. Next, you'd want to know what kind of risky insights are going on, which is insiders in your organization who are extremely risky. What kind of AI are they using? What kind of information are they sharing with that AI? And last but not least, you're going to look at unethical AI interactions. These are things that you do never want to share with AI. You might be asking it some manipulative questions, etc. All of that information is tracked here for all of your AI. Even jailbreak information is here. So let me click into that, look at the details here, and right from here you can see it has flagged some details for me. I can go into the details here, and it's giving me a full view of the AI prompt and response that actually triggered this violation. It's telling me this is why this was triggered. Of course, all of this I can see only if I have the right permissions in my organization to see the AI prompts and responses. But this is how overall now Purview built into Copilot Studio for the makers makes it super easy for all of your agents to get data security built in, for the users, be productive and secure, and then for all of your administrators, it gives you a full comprehensive view of your AI usage in your organization. With that, I'll hand it over to you, Neta. Thank you.
Thank you, Shilpa. So you saw how amazingly we can secure our logo. And we're now going to look into how we can secure our program. So when we want to secure our program and we want to build something that's safe and secure, we want to first be able to detect AI. We need tools to understand what risks are there, what vulnerabilities, what models a lot of us, we have a lot of models out there, but not all the organization will allow us to use all of them. So we want to have policies in place to do model-based policies. Then we want to build a reputation with verified model. We want to make sure that if we're taking an open source model, it doesn't have any vulnerabilities in it. And we want to, of course, make sure that we can document everything with compliance and all of those things. So today, we're excited to announce two announcements in CoPilot. One is model governance policies in Azure AI. You can now use pre-built policies or custom policies to govern the models you're using and decide which models are allowed in your organization. And we're announcing today security posture management GA in Defender for Cloud. We're enabling you multi-cloud both for AWS and Azure AI, expanded AWS integration, and AI grounding data and insights. So we're going to see all this in several areas. So let's look into the model policies. In Azure AI Foundry today, you can decide which models you want to use. For example, I can decide from the catalog that I want to use only GPT-4 and GPT-4 Mini in my organization. When the developer now goes and tries to deploy GPT-3.5 model, he will get basically a notification that this model is restricted by his organization, and he can go and request access to use this model. So we heard from all our customers saying, oh, it's so great that you have 1,800 models in your catalog. But we want to allow specific ones. We want to verify that the models that don't have vulnerabilities are allowed in our organization. So we listen, and now you can do a model policy and decide which models are allowed in your organization. And now I'm going to invite Gopal to share the AI SDN GA announcement of Defender for Cloud and all the things that can do. Thank you, Gopal.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Gopal Shankar, and I'm from the Microsoft Defender for Cloud product engineering team. I'm going to talk about Microsoft Defender for Cloud. I'm going to talk about the innovations that we have to help you discover the new AI attack surfaces, from code to runtime, and also from protecting your enterprise AI applications from emerging threats. So, potential attack techniques targeting the AI applications do not revolve around the application alone, but also around the model, including the application as well as the trading and grounding data that it can leverage. So one of the emerging attacks that we see on the enterprise-built AI applications is the jailbreak attacks, which I will demonstrate in a bit, with the intent to actually alter the whole design purpose of the model so that it can access sensitive data or steal credentials. Now let me demonstrate how Microsoft Defender for Cloud can help you identify the new attack surfaces and secure your enterprise-built AI applications from emerging threats in runtime. So, AI security posture management helps security admins to continuously discover and create an inventory of their organization's AI services. As a security admin, you can actually explore your AI workloads by building your own queries in the Cloud Security Explorer to discover all the AI services and models used across Azure OpenAI, Azure ML, and Amazon Bedrock, including information about models, or AI orchestration, plugins, and the sensitive data it's using for the grounding and fine-tuning of large language models. Security admins can also use the built-in templates in Cloud Security Explorer to discover the AI services. For example, in this template, I can actually see that my models and model deployments used for Azure OpenAI and AWS. This discovery is agentless and it is seamless and can enable in the click of a button. With so many large language models announced, first I want to better understand what those models are. When I run this built-in query, it returns with all the AI workloads and artifacts, which includes the Gen AI models. For example, when I click on this particular GPT model, it's going to give me more additional insights such as the name, version, models, capabilities, and collection types. So I'm now well informed about what is available in my environment. The first step is to provide you with visibility to the inventory. Next, AI security posture management can actually help you provide actionable insights to help security admins to mitigate the risks more proactively. Let's use this one for example. Find containers running images with known Gen AI vulnerabilities. Once I run this query, I will see all the container images running across Azure AWS with Gen AI vulnerabilities. I can get more details on the container image itself and also view insights on each of the associated Gen AI vulnerabilities. With this container image, we can see that the first one here, the CVE related to LangChain, which is an open source AI orchestration tool. CVE 28088 is a directory traversal vulnerability that can actually allow an actor to bypass the load chain call, potentially leading to an API key disclosure to a large language model, online service, or remote code execution. From here, I can actually get more information about the CVE and remediate this quickly. Next, let's talk about my organization's data. AI grounding involves using large language models with specific information that they didn't learn during training. That makes them effective for certain specific use cases. However, this approach is also carrying a lot of inherent risk. The grounding data model is inadvertently actually reveals sensitive data through its outputs. So as an attacker, you can actually use the data set used for grounding to poison the large language model. It's not always easy to actually spot grounding in AI because it isn't always clearly set up. So grounding data could come from configuration, it could come from system prompts, it could come from user prompts, and also from the application code. So I can actually create as a system admin or a security admin a quick query here in the Cloud Security Explorer to look for resources that is used for AI grounding. In this example, MDC detected that search service is used for AI grounding by configuration with a very high confidence level. And a storage account is used for AI grounding by access with low confidence. And when it comes to recommendations, since grounding is a new risk factor, in MDC we created a new factor called used for AI grounding, which will automatically prioritize recommendations based on attack path and whether they include resources used for AI grounding. So in this example, the detection automatically impacts the priorities of the alerts and attack paths. I can actually see the prioritized recommendation based on the risk factor that will reduce the risk for data poisoning and data exposure. Next, let's look at the attack path analysis. Attack path analysis provides visual context to the potential source and target of impact. Let's take, for example, the first attack path over here. Internet exposed Azure VM with high severity vulnerability, and that can allow lateral movement to my Azure OpenAI deployment. I'm provided with summaries of the potential impact, associated resources, risk factors, and more. So when I click on the VM, you can see the attack path over here. I will just talk about, when I click on the VM, I can actually see the insights on the vulnerabilities that put the Azure OpenAI deployment at high risk. To minimize this risk for this VM, I can review recommendations and understand the unresolved CVEs may result in remote code execution, potentially leading to a lateral movement into my large language model deployment. Now I can actually improve my posture by either resolving the CVEs or limiting the internet access to this particular machine. With that, I will pass it back to Heather.
Thank you. Thank you. So we saw, you can see, discover things, how you can do model governance. Now you want to also protect your application. You want to understand how a model application typically responds to attack. What's happening? Somebody's trying to jailbreak it, indirect or direct part. You want to mitigate risks in real time, attacks in real time. You want to block it. And of course, you want to enable your security teams to be able to see what's happening, hunt for it, and also act upon attacks and be able to see all of that. So for that, for example, when we look at a generative AI application, the application has 3 points we want to protect. We want to protect between the user and the application. We want to protect between the application and the thing that is connected to, if it's a grounding data or additional application or extensions. And we want to protect and find model vulnerabilities between the application and the models. These are the 3 things and the things you want to protect and make sure you have protection against. And if you look and remember our threat map, this is how it overlays on your application when it's built. Now, we certainly want to start understanding what are the attacks and what will happen if somebody's trying to jailbreak my application. So in Azure AI Foundry today, you have the ability to do evaluation And you can see the evaluation, what are they, if you're trying to do an attack, you have sample tests there, you can see what will happen, you can see the evaluation, you can use synthetic data for it in the Foundry, you can see the results. And all these tools that we're providing you as part of Azure AI Foundry and as part of our protection are the ones we also use for our copilots and protecting ourselves. So in the Foundry today, you can see all this, you can test your model out, you can test your application out. But that's all you're developing. And remember, when we do protection and overall security, it's a shift left and shift right. And in AI, they need to be continuous and work together. So the developer can test his application in the Azure AI Foundry, but you also can protect the application and the security team can see it. So you see, when a jailbreak attempt is tried on the application, Azure AI will block it. And then security team will also get an alert, which is enriched with the IP and the user and additional information, so the security team can also act upon it, hunt, investigate, because we usually know that a bad actor is not trying only once. He's doing it in the AI application, he's probably trying to get the data and stuff like that in different ways also. So with the deep integration between Azure AI and Microsoft Security, you get full protection end to end. And I'd like to invite Gopal again to share with you how this works from an application, when you're building an application, and in the security.
Thank you, Nita. Awesome. So I talked about the posture management. So to complement the security posture capabilities, we have threat protection for AI workloads in Microsoft Defender for Cloud, which is currently in limited public preview. This new protection offering leverages the native integration with Azure OpenAI Service, along with Azure AI Content Safety Proxies and the Microsoft Threat Intelligence to deliver contextual and insightful, actionable security alerts. In this example over here, we can see that the user session on the Control Support's Gen AI app, where as a malicious actor, I can attempt to jailbreak the app to gain access to some credit card information. Luckily, because the deployment is configured with baseline protection through the built-in Azure AI Content Safety Prompt Shields, the response is blocked, thereby preventing the attack. However, this is just one session, and we know malicious actors don't just strike once. Now, as a Contoso Hotels SOC analyst, with the new AI workload protection in Defender for Cloud, I'll receive the alerts, block, jailbreak attempts, and sensitive data exposure. With Defender for Cloud's integration with Microsoft XDR, I can centralize all my AI workloads alerts to start investigation and response, which help me to track down the actor, understand the blast radius, and also remediate anything that may have been impacted. So I can actually, let me go to this next click here. I can view the incident impacting my AI workloads involving privilege escalation. The attack story shows associated alerts, including the jailbreak attempt that we just saw. I can dig into it and see what really happened. The alert shows an attempt of jailbreak attack with session of this model deployment, and it was blocked. And I can see the details, more information such as model deployment, model version, review the investigation, and also understand what are the potential causes. Within the related activities, I can also see the suspicious prompt that triggered the alert. From here, I can continue to dig further and understand more about the context and what actually triggered this alert. I can also see the incident was related to a sensitive data exposure, and it resulted in a jailbreak attempt. Here again, I view the activities such as investigation steps and potential causes and related activities regarding this incident. I can now investigate this further in the Microsoft Defender for Cloud portal. In the Defender for Cloud portal, I get the same context of the individual alerts supporting evidence. I can see them enabled the entities and also the supporting evidence. I can also view the actions that I need to take, further to mitigate this threat. I can prevent future attacks on the specific resource by following the built-in recommendations and implementing best security practices. I can also trigger a logic app to automatically respond to the security alert. With integrated posture management recommendations in threat protection alerts, resource owners can now have a holistic view of this resource health and gaps in their security best practices related to their active alerts.
So we saw how you protect low-code applications. Shilpa shared an amazing demo on how you can secure and govern your AI on CoPilot Studio. We saw how you can protect your pro code. And we have also customers using all our products and building AI and protecting AI. I'd like now to invite, we're honored here to have today, John Israel and Greg Schoenberg from KPMG to share their story.
Good afternoon. Hey, thanks for everybody being here today. We promise not to bore you to death. My name is John Israel, and Greg, why don't you introduce yourself and we're going to get started?
Sure, I'm Greg Schellenberg. I'm the security architect at KPMG.
All right, so I recently, as of Friday, I was a CISO for KPMG US. As of Monday this week, I'm now the global person that's leading our efforts in data and AI security. And one of the questions that I've gotten from a lot of people is, what's the difference, right? what is special, what's unique about that experience, and potentially what are the intersections there? I think that the best way to start is a little bit of the why behind the what. And you go back in time 2 years ago, I think we're all on the same page. We came back from holiday break, got into January, and we had this thing called generative AI that landed on our steps. And we had to figure out what in the world are we going to do with this as security professionals. And within KPMG, we started a multidisciplinary team and looked at this and have been really fortunate to work with a lot of amazing people like Greg, right? And others that are just true thought leaders. And I think that you would all say the same thing about your companies. And we began to realize the nuances that existed when you put data security within the context of AI systems, which is totally separate from data security by itself in legacy sense. But it's also different in how we characterize AI security across the firm, which is, we designate that as the security of the system, security from the system, and the security with AI at the end of the day. So as you look at this in the last 2 years, and I think we'd all agree that the viscosity of data movement throughout your infrastructure layer, being involved in AI systems has increased dramatically. And the traditional triad of CI and A that you look at began to be more nuanced, right? You start to look at observability, data sovereignty, accessibility, all these other things that were part of what we did, but weren't as prevalent as what they are today. And so as we began to look at those, we began to recognize the abstracted layers of complexity that existed down below that. And so we felt strongly that we needed to focus in this area. And so we differentiated the role of our CISO and created a new position. And hopefully this discipline will give us the ability to link between the different perspectives. And instead of looking at this as a compliance and a security exercise, we tend to want it to be a launch point, one that helps us accelerate the growth of revenue into the future. So enough about me for right now. Let's go ahead and get into some other details. So for those of you that are just starting, which it's probably not many of you right now, but for those of you that are just starting, a couple of things to take into account. Penny of advice, spender to save it, right? So within KPMG, I mentioned that we started off in January. And if you're going to be looking at your AI strategy relevant to your organization, everyone's got their methodology that they pay attention to. And with us, we really chose to be deliberate in our governance-led approach. And so we had a group of executives that got together with technical SMEs. And in that same room, we had privacy, security, our general counsel, risk management, and functional leaders all together. And so that perspective, the diversity perspective matters, right? So who would have thought back in the 80s that a doctor biologist instead sufficiently attacking cancer together? Kind of the same thing plays out here when you get different perspectives all playing out. So when you have all these people in the room and all these different perspectives, you also get different biases that come in based upon their understanding and life experiences. And what we found to be important is education, right? It is level setting and baselining the lexicon that's used in all of your meetings. And that was actually unanticipated, but very important so that our executives and people within our governance structure were using words the same way, because it became very easy to conflate terms and mix up the message, which made planning and looking over the horizon and bringing it over to conceptualization and implementation made it hard unless you got there. But once we had it, it was a flywheel effect. You had everybody gelling together, and it worked out really well. So when we talk about, let's dig into a little bit of KPMG, and then Greg and I are going to hand it. This is a little bit about how our conversations go every day right now.
Yeah,
exactly. We're going to punish you a little bit here. So if you look at the company strategy, I'm going to start high level. Greg, being smarter than me, is going to give you the real details that you guys all came here for. So KPMG, like many other companies, is a trust-led entity, right? We seek to be the most trusted amongst the C-suite. We actually looked at generative AI as a way to enhance that trust. Some people have the opposite perspective that, given the complexity, everyone's heard of hallucination, we looked at it as the chance to be deliberate in our actions, and then we structured it and making governance early so that we could actually enhance our trust. Below that level, we seek to enrich the client services with embedded AI, but also, kind of the way I put it is, we wanted our employees to feel like they were those superheroes in the movies that have the exosuits on that can run 40 miles an hour and jump 10 feet in the air. This Gen AI gives people the ability to synthesize ideas and analyze in a speed and manner that otherwise wouldn't be possible. And so we see that playing out. The faster that people adopt, we start to see these different paradigms play out as well. So, Greg, why don't you go ahead and give your perspective as well?
So what we did was a program called SMART, Security Monitoring and Response Tools. Now what's that? It's taking the Microsoft security stack and breaking it apart, right? And I'm going to talk about people, process, and technology. So the people, let's talk about the teams. There's a CSERT team, so those are incident responders. People looking real time, using Sentinel, using MDC, looking for the needle in the haystack. So for people here who do block aggregation correlation, we're talking about the notable event. What's a notable event? The notable event is when you find the jailbreak attempt that Ned was talking about. How do we have, first of all, that data enriched with host name, IP address, where it's coming from, not where the model is coming from, but where it's coming from, what endpoint. We built that in, starting with being a private preview, early access program for Microsoft. We rolled out public preview to get to that. The next thing is the second team, vulnerability management. So looking for vulnerabilities. That team's relying on Qualys, but also on Microsoft protections as well, and recommendations within the CSPM stack. The third is IIRT, Information Incident Response Team. That's the DLP team. So let's talk about Purview. Who here uses SITs, Sensitivity Information Tags, and Purview? Raise your hand. Okay, great. So about maybe 10%. Recommend Googling Maxime Bombardier Purview Accelerator. Right? Here we go. So what is that? It's the way, sensitivity information tags is the way you categorize the information in the back. We all know what happens. 5% of users will use labels, user-based labels. 95% don't. But in the back, you've got all this data in the graph. You use Purview with SITs, sensitive information tags, to categorize the data. So this is where we're getting into. If you do that first, all of these detections will become apparent. So, perfect example, someone's putting in, I need to look for employee salaries for last year, and they're not HR. You've tagged the data. If they're doing that, you're going to get that alert. So that's the connection between Purview and these detections. So those are the three teams, aligning the people, process, and technology with the tools. Pretty much it for Purview.
So let's lean a little bit into maybe what everyone's asking, what was hard about Gen AI early on. So from my perspective, sitting in the CISO world at the time, it was, we had the basics nailed down of the regular triad, the CIMEA, and if you look at all the tools you normally use in these systems, right? But as we leaned into the systems and began to assess them, we began to look at things like data sovereignty. You had to actually look below the abstraction layer of physical plumbing, and where were your inference operations going on? What was the observability along the way? How was that protected and that access? And today, this challenges seem relatively simple to the challenges we have in front of us, which are the embedding of AI across all the different features, SaaS products and and different features. So, those have been incredibly difficult challenges along the way. I feel like our implementation of a AI security architecture has been relatively, very helpful. But that talks about that. Remember, if I recall, they're talking about the security of, with, and from AI. Those are generally the security of our AI systems. I think the security from AI is becoming an even more prevalent concern for everybody. Deepfake, social engineering, and the usage of AI to increase the efficacy of attacks across the board. And we've worked really hard internally to not only use tactics and techniques to be able to detect that and to put barriers and layered defenses in place, but we started our own internal AI red team, multidisciplinary team, and that's actually been very fortunate because it started in one direction, and what we found is that it dovetailed really nicely into our trusted AI approach. And this team is contributing very significantly to some of the automated testing that goes into the production of our system cards and in our ability to be transparent with our customers about what we're doing with our systems. So that parlays into a bit of the discussion about what was hard about securing AI. And Greg, again, I think you're the best person to answer this question.
Yeah, I'll tell you, so one thing is models. So we're talking about, are you guys using curated models? So curious, out of this group, who's using out-of-the-box curated models? Raise your hand. Oh, curated means scanned already. So I'll give you an example. A group of models that are safe. You point to the developer stores. Right, show of hands. Okay, small group. So what we do is we collect our developers in, they use GitHub, so using these curated models. What does that mean? They've already been scanned by hidden layer in the background. So you're giving them a whitelist approach to what models to use, model families. Within those families, they can choose what use cases work for them, using some of the tools Microsoft gives us. That was a hard problem because it's hard to corral developers, as we all know. So that's one example.
All right, so kind of wrap up and talk a little bit about the use of the whole entire product suite. So if we begin with what we term a walled garden that we built on kind of the cloud, right, and work our way to where we are right now, you can help understand just from soup to nuts, the portfolio of products that we have in place.
Sure.
As part of our architecture.
We consolidated the entire stack into the Microsoft stack. So imagine all third-party products consolidated. We use all EMs, MDO, MDI, we're a Sentinel shop, log aggregation, correlation, everything coming up into a log analytics workspace. Of course, workspace queries for 2 Sentinels. Of course, we have a walled garden approach. So GovCloud, of course, has its own Sentinel. That's for the CSERT folks, for eyes on glass, for real-time monitoring. Vulnerability management team recommendations, Defender CSPM, cloud security posture management. What's that? Recommendations on your cloud settings. What's that? Have you set your AI model up correctly? If you're doing something in cloud, MVC is going to tell you this is incorrect setting, open storage, 100 different examples of that. That's your vulnerability management team. Your DLP team is looking at purview. Now what are they doing? They're looking at the sits, align, categorize the data. They fingerprint the data that should never leave. Keys to the kingdom, right? These are things that should never leave your org. You tag them. They shouldn't be able to be searched with an AI. You shouldn't be able to expose those things. Once you identify and fingerprint those things with purview, your IIR team, your DLP team will be able to prevent that from happening. So you have preventative controls, you can have DLP controls outside of purview working. You could have web-based proxy controls to do that. You could have email controls, Proofpoint to do that. But the big picture is consolidated into the stack. Integration goes away. All your issues with integration go away. Your best of breed, the way you get to this, you get to adopt some of these early access program features. Run your non-prod detections against prod data and see what you get. It's eye-opening. The key is things are moving so quick and detections are moving so quick to match the OWASP top 10, which are changing. You want to adopt those early and quickly. Because if you wait the 6 months for those to go to product, to go to GA, you wait for the next Ignite, they're already behind the curve.
All right, so great, thanks, appreciate it. Let's wrap up by saying big shout out. I have the opportunity up here to people back from KPMG. Again, they are they're the proverbial 10 people that help change the world every day. I feel really fortunate. We also say that security is job one, but velocity, efficiency, and creation activities are jobs one, and we want to see respectively. We're really fortunate to have the partnership with Microsoft and ability to be informed with these products and able to secure our architecture more securely.
Thank you very much. Thank you for these are the Ignite announcement. We made a local Ignite announcement with 30 data security and governance for CoPilot Studio, model governance policies for Azure AI, and AI security posture management and Defender for Cloud is general availability. If you want to hear more about security for AI at Ignite, these are the sessions. You can get further into that. And if you have questions, we are here. We're also at the expert sessions and at the demo places. So feel free to come and chat with us. Thank you so much.